You are now listening to the Life of Produk Podcast.
Yeah, what up, man? It's the boy Product. You're now locked into the Life of Produk Podcast. This is episode 123. Yo, Cuzin Damien's back on the show. What's good, Cuzzo? How you doing, man?
Nothing, same as always. Just chilling, man. Maintaining.
Yo, now, you know why you're here today. We know why you're here today. You know what? So when you call into the show, we always do like our hip hop stuff, and it's been like a hip hop civil war as of lately. Is it safe to say that?
Yeah. I think that's an accurate description.
Son, they've been wilding in these hip hop streets. You know what I'm saying? Like literally. This is episode 123. This is the Kendrick versus Drake edition. We usually call it Two Cousins, but we had to go a little deeper. We had to call it for what it is today, man. First of all, how you doing? What's good with you, man? How's everything up there?
Oh man, it's all right. I mean, weather's starting to change. You're getting some good weather, but it's kind of off balance. It's like it'll be like the other day it was 80 degrees, and then the next day it was in like the low 50s. So you just never know what you're gonna get.
See, I noticed that y'all had like 50. It was like a high of 52 or 53, something like that today. Where here it was a high of 70s, been in the 80s all week. I'll kind of trade you because I don't like hot weather. You know what I'm saying? I don't like.
Yeah, I don't either.
Yeah. You know, it's all good though. All right, so bong. Let's get into it. Drake versus Kendrick. First of all, I'm gonna just off top. I'm gonna let you know like this. I'm neutral on all of this. I'm more of a Kendrick fan. I listen to Kendrick. I'm more of a Kendrick fan than Drake. I told y'all before, and I told you this before. I'm not a fan of Drake's singing. I like Drake's rapping, but I'm not a fan of his singing. So I'm neutral. I had to throw that disclaimer out there because you know how the stand's been kind of crazy. Like people been kind of wilding, right? Now,
oh God, yeah.
Who do you think won?
I think I have to give it, I'm like you said, I'm neutral as well. I'm more of a Drake fan. Like I'm more of a fan of Drake's music.
Yeah.
I always had my beef with Kendrick has always been I've never been a fan of his beat selection.
Yeah.
But in this battle, these are the best beats I've ever heard him rap.
That's a fact. That I used to tell people Kendrick has him and Cole. I mean this in the most non-disrespectful way, right? Him and Cole, their earlier discography, they made some of the dopest, most boring albums. Like literally, and I'm saying that because of the beat selection. I'm with you on that. Even though I rock with it, their beat selection was never great to me. As in Cole, the same thing with Cole. As of recently, his beat selection has been fire. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So are you who you're saying? Are you saying Kendrick won his battle?
I'd have to give it to Kendrick. I think he won. I think he out-rapped him. I think he ended up beating Drake at his own game.
He did. He really. Now we need to backtrack. We're gonna talk some stuff today, cousin. You know what I'm saying? We're gonna backtrack this, right? Now I did a little digging on the internet, right? And I wanted to know exactly what started because at one point they was cool. You know what I'm saying? We had the Poetic Justice song from them. We seen them do shows together, tours together. They shouted each other out. Now, I think I kind of know what it was somewhat because we're not in that circle behind the scenes. What do you think started this? Other than friendly competition brewing?
I think it was always competition. I think it started, honestly, I feel like Drake took the Control verse a little too personal.
I was going to say that. I'm glad you hit that on the target because a lot of people, these fake Drake fans and these fake Kendrick fans that just came out of nowhere don't even know the controversy around that Control verse. They don't know it. First of all,
they're ignorant to it.
First of all, and I was still living in Brooklyn at the time. Everybody was mad when he said, "I'm the king of New York." Remember that?
I remember that, yeah.
Didn't Fabulous drop something about him? I could be wrong.
Probably. There was a few New York rappers that took offense to it.
They kind of took offense to that. A couple New York rappers did. I see what Kendrick was going. I didn't get offended by it as a hip hop fan, as a New Yorker, as somebody that was born and raised there. I see where he was going with it. He threw friendly jabs out there. I'm not gonna say he threw shots, and he threw shots at Jay-Elect and not shots. He threw jabs at Jay-Elect and Big Sean on that song, and they was on the song. You know what I'm saying? So it kind of. But is that safe to say? No offense to say, is it safe to say that him being emotional about that was uncalled for? What do you think?
Yeah, because nobody else took it personal. Cole didn't take it personal. Big Sean. I mean, him and Big Sean had their issues after, but I don't think at the moment it was really. Yeah, I just think he took it too personal, and it's just from there. It's been like they've been subbing each other for years. It's always been little light jabs. for years.
Yeah, and some of the jabs I think some of the jabs I overlooked until now. It's kind of like when LL Cool J dropped 4 3 2 1 and Cannabis he had the verse where he's like, let me get the mic from your arm, and they said LL took it the wrong way, and he kind of dissed him.
I remember that whole thing.
He kind of dissed him on the song that he featured some. He dissed the dude that was featured on the song. That was it.
Yeah, just for clarity, I remember the whole thing was when they met, when they were recording the song, Cannabis saw L's tattoo, his mic tattoo.
Yeah.
And he liked it. He said, I'm going to get one just like that. And then L told him, no, do your own thing. You don't need to copy me. Do your own thing. So then initially Cannabis had written in his verse, his bars were, he said, oh, L, is there a mic on your arm? Let me borrow that. And then L pulled him to the side and was like, well, no, I don't think he pulled him to the side. I think LL said, like, I guess to himself, he was like, we just had a conversation about this. So LL when he wrote his verse, it was kind of, he took a jab at Cannabis, but he told Cannabis after, he said, look, if you change your verse, then no one will know that I'm talking about you. Yeah. But Cannabis changed his verse, but apparently I guess there was a miscommunication because Cannabis thought LL was going to change his verse as well, but he didn't. And then we all know what happened there.
Yeah. And okay, so I look at that now. Not to get off track with Drake and Kendrick. I look at that from two different points of view. Mm-hmm. Me personally, I feel like if you the new dude coming in the game, you the younger dude coming in the game, and you got a seat at this table, I think he should have just not even went there with LL Cool J. You should have not went there.
I agree. Yeah.
I think if he didn't go there with LL Cool J, his career would have went a lot further. And because let's keep it real, LL Cool J sunned him. Even though Second Round Knockout was one of the greatest diss records ever made in hip hop history, but LL Cool J. It's kind of like if you got to fight the big dude on the block and you put all your might into that punch and he don't budge. He don't budge.
I think personally, I always felt a Second Round Knockout was harder because Cannabis was like just a harder, edgier rapper. But I think LL's response, Jack the Ripper Returns, is very slept on.
It is slept on.
And very slept on.
People, I used to hear people all the time like, nah. All he did was get on the record and scream and scream and scream. Actually, the beat was better. He went kind of like traditional. I just knocked the mic down. See, I'm talking with passion right now, brother. he went traditional LL Cool J. He remember the LL we saw that when at Kool Moe Dee and all that. He kind of went back to that.
Yeah.
That's what it felt like. It kind of felt like that. You know what I'm saying? So people can't really say LL's response was trash. It wasn't trash.
It wasn't, no.
To my knowledge, LL has never lost a battle. He's never lost.
I agree. Like LL is just, he was,
Yeah, he's kind of one of the only rappers who did that. But we're going to get into that too. But I want to talk more about this Drake and Kendrick stuff, right? Now, man. The Control verse dropped. Jay, all of their verses was fire. I think putting Kendrick in the middle was smart of Big Sean and whoever, and not putting Kendrick at the end of that song. Because if they would have put Kendrick at the end of that song, it would have looked 10 times worse than what it was. And it would have sounded 10 times worse than what it actually was. You know what I'm saying? Kendrick was spitting, and I was just listening to that yesterday, and I was like, man, I kind of forgot how hard his verse was. His verse was fire on Control. But now here it is, after you took this dude on the tour. And I think Drake has to understand this is hip hop and these type of things happen. I don't think that Drake was ready for certain. I'm most respectful way. I don't think Drake was ready emotionally or mentally for certain things, hip hop wise, when he came into the game and was ultimately accepted in the beginning. You had Young Money, you had Jay Prince, and Houston was accepting him. People was accepting him. The R&B lane was accepting him because he was singing. I think that kind of threw him off in the loop. Is it safe to say that?
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Yeah, so it kind of threw him off in the loop. Now we got the Control verse. Now he's kind of looking at it like it kind of changed, in my opinion, his perspective on Kendrick. You know what I'm saying? But like I said, I didn't pick up on that. Then there's been other little jabs, like you said, over the years, and I didn't pick up on some of them. Even I think the BET freestyle when Kendrick was rhyming, some of them things.
Yeah, I saw people bringing that up.
Yeah, you know, and I can't remember verbatim, but it's kind of like I think only real hip hop analysts picked up on that. I think the people in their camps picked up on that and was like, yo, son, taking jabs at you. Now it's kind of like,
I also saw somebody bringing back, they're saying the song. Do you remember the song off the Black Panther soundtrack?
Which one was that?
All the Stars with the song with SZA.
Yeah, dog.
They said he's talking about Drake in his verse. I didn't realize that. But they said they're alleging it. Nobody's confirmed, but they're saying like a lot of fans are putting that together and saying no, that was a Drake diss.
When I first heard that song, I was like, yo, I'm like, this is a Marvel soundtrack. You're curating and producing it. Who you saying, mother? I don't even like you. Like, fam. And I was like, who's he talking about? Is he talking about somebody at the top? Yeah. Yo, hold that though. We got to take a break real quick. It's the boy Product, Life of Produk Podcast. Cuzin Damien on the line. This is episode 123. This is the Kendrick versus Drake edition. We will be right back with the second half of the show. Yeah, what up, Mr. Boy Product? We're now back with the Life of Product Podcast, episode 123. If you need advertisements, sponsorships, or interviews, it is lifeofproduk@gmail.com or Korporate.Ent @gmail.com. That is corporate with the K, because y'all be spelling it wrong. We back in the building, baby. Yo, it's been I'm pretty sure it's been a very, very difficult month and a half for Drake. It's been a month.
He may not let it show, but I do. I think he is definitely bothered by this.
He got to be bothered. Now, this week, I don't think we've seen a rap battle from two big artists this good in a long time. There's been rap battles in between it. You know what I'm saying? I think, so not to stray off again, I think one of the best rap battles that we saw in between this from years ago, from our era, from the Nas and Jay-Z, I think one of the best rap battles that we've seen, and now you might not agree with this, was the Don Q and Tory Lanez battle. That was fire. I don't care what nobody say. Dog, I think both of them, I think if they were bigger artists at the time, it would have went further. But Don Q and Tory both proved that they was about that. I think Don Q dropped 2 joints. Tory only dropped 1, but Tory held it down for Toronto. Don Q held it down for the Bronx. It was fun. Go back and listen to it when you get a chance. Go back and listen to it. I think.
I'm gonna do that.
I think since Tory was so busy and engulfed in being a hit maker, I think Don Q had more mojo and more momentum to keep on going. But when you at Tory Lanez level, you don't keep on going. You pop in, you prove a point, and you go back to making millions. You know what I'm saying? Well, he ain't making millions no more, son and Joe. And I ain't trying to be funny. That is just the reality of it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I was watching Joe Budden's podcast, and Joe was saying how Tory Lanez called him and said how Drake was winning. I don't agree with that at all. Drake.
Well, here's the thing. I saw a clip of that, but here's the thing. Tory Lanez damn well better say Drake won. Here's why: because Drake held him down. Like, remember, I don't know if you remember back when Drake first went on tour, it was some show he did last year where he basically when Drake was basically sending shots toward Meg, he was sticking up for Tory. So if Drake is sticking up for you and holding you down, you better take his side.
You have to take his side. And I remember when I gave that Drake and 21 Savage album one solid straight through listen, and I was like, yo, why is he taking shots at Meg? But like I said, these industry people, they know stuff that we don't know. All right, so we touched on the Control whatever, right? Then we touched on the Black Panthers. We're gonna fast forward a little bit, right? And because certain stuff we don't got to touch. The internet's been crazy. Let's talk about the First Person Shooter song. Now, I'm gonna admit it. The first few listens, when I first listened to First Person Shooter, I didn't pick up on some of it. Then after the beef kind of brewed, I had to go back, and I was like, yo, I see why Kendrick Lamar felt disrespected. Is it safe to say that he felt he could feel disrespected from that song? Or do you think?
I think he did, but I mean, there's ego all over this, yes. Yeah. But I don't think ego was playing the biggest part for his part. I think what I didn't realize was he was asked to be on the record.
Yes.
And he said no.
Yeah.
And apparently behind the scenes, the word is he said no because, he just don't like Drake, which makes a hell of a lot of sense now. But I could see him taking offense to it.
Yeah.
Because if he reached out to him for the record and he said no.
Yeah.
And then he hears y'all verses where, I mean, Cole kind of referenced him. I don't think he took a shot at him. It was just kind of something light where he did say something about steppers. Drake said something too. I don't think these were really shots. I think they were just referencing him. But maybe because his refusal to be on the record, he felt maybe they shouldn't have been talking about him. Maybe, I guess.
I hear you, but I got to go off of what you're saying. I got to come back on that because at the end of the day, like I said, I was listening to it. I didn't pick up on it at first. Now he did reference Cole, and it kind of sounded like a shout out at first, right? But then it doesn't sound like a shout out when he say the Spider-Man meme is just me and Drake. It's not in those words, but he said the Spider-Man meme is just me and Drake. Then when Drake goes is a who to go is just me and Cole. After you hear Kendrick drop the Like That verse, which we're gonna get into, and then you go back and listen to First Person Shooter, and you really, really listen to it, it does kind of sound like they kind of taking jabs at him. It does. It kind of
like little light competitive jabs, I think.
Yeah, competitive jabs, but you got to understand, Kendrick is and I say that in the most respectful way. He's a 5 foot something Gemini. You understand what I'm saying? He is. I'm a Gemini, right? We think differently. Let me tell you something about us Geminis. This is how we think. The first inclination that you don't like us or you trying to disrespect us, we start thinking about multiple ways to end you, your whole existence. This is how us Geminis are. So you could literally be like, yo, I don't like your shoes, B. I'm thinking about hanging you off a cliff and it's just bang, bang. That's what we do. I'm being for real. So the Gemini in me, I understand Kendrick Lamar 1,000%. He did what he did. Now, off that first person shooter song, it kind of sounds like from a person that raps like myself and picking up when certain rappers take jabs and subliminals. It's kind of like they're referencing him, but they're interchangeably going back and forth with little jabs. It did kind of feel like that, and it might have been like that because we know Cole apologized. We'll get into that too, but we don't know how Cole was feeling at the time, and we don't know what words were said between them three in the camps because both camps is pretty close. We don't know what this person said. We don't know what that person said. So I wholeheartedly see why Kendrick was mad. Then that brings us to the Like That record. The Like That record, I'm calling it. It's besides Not Like Us, that's the record of the year, son. It's the record of the year. One of the records of the year. And
there's a strong case to be made for that, yeah.
But I still don't understand what happened with that camp with Future, Metro Boomin. Of course, they saying the streets is talking. They talking about it of a female. And which a lot of these hip hop beats be of a female when you really think about it.
Yeah, that's what my understanding is, and it's they beef over these females, and it's like the same. Everybody now complains about it. It's like the same 6 females that they pass around. And there's an interesting fact on that. Well, it's not a fact, but this is speculation on that. And here's a theory that some people have expressed, and I kind of agree with this. Where the reason why these rappers pass through the same women over and over is because here's a question, could it be that these 5 women know how to move in the industry among industry people?
Oh, they definitely
whereas
do.
Other women, they may be foreign to it and they don't know how to move and they they don't know how to handle certain things, but these 5 women, they know how to maneuver through the industry, and that could be why it's like constantly the same woman you see with all these different rappers. That's a possibility, I think.
That's a fact.
But my thing is, if this is, because that's what a lot of speculation is here. The thing with him and Future being over a woman, for me, if it really is, I think I'd have a lot less respect for them, because it's like, for me, some grown ass, damn near 40-something-year-old millionaires beefing over a woman is nonsense to me.
Fam,
it is nonsense.
Way.
Grow the fuck up.
Ain't no way I'm gonna be at this age worth be a multi-millionaire, platinum records, gold records, multiple businesses, and beefing up over a chick that was ran through that everybody got nudes of, they got videos of, all that. I'm not doing it. I gotta look at myself in the mirror at the end of the day. But it's weird the things that dudes do when they got a certain female in their bed and they pillow talking with it. And from what I'm hearing, there was a lot of pillow talking going on. There was a lot of pillow talking going on.
Yeah.
And that first of all, your whole empire can crumble over being with the wrong woman. Same goes for women. Your whole life could crumble being with the wrong dude. And if these dudes I think it's a weird mentality psychologically for dudes that chase after women that certain dudes been with. And apparently they're saying Drake does that. Is what we've heard.
Yeah, that looks like it's a pattern.
It's a pattern, and once you start developing that pattern, patterns comes with reputations. You feel what I'm saying? So once you start developing a pattern for chasing women, that if this dude dated these 3 women and you chase that woman every time that man, or these women every time that man breaks up with her, that's a weird psychological trait that you have. And it's kind of like, I think at a certain point we need this. We're seeing a crumble of this dude. Every king has to fall some kind of way, whether his empire falls or whether he falls at the end of his life during death. You know what I'm saying? Every king has to fall. You can either fall gracefully or you can fall very bad, and he's falling very bad, dog. This is not a good look for the boy. This is not Kendrick done opened Pandora's box with a lot of stuff. And there's things that we haven't really known about Drake that's starting to come out now. People are starting to talk. You know what I'm saying? You know what I learned years ago? I learned this, right? I learned if 10 people say the same thing about somebody, there's truth to it. Because those 10 people ain't just come together to lie on that one person. It can't. It's enough.
Yeah, absolutely. That's one of the things, again, not to kind of just jump up, but that's one of the knocks against him. That's one of the reasons why I believe he lost this. It's just he just hasn't handled himself the way he should have. He underestimated his opponent. I think his strategy toward Kendrick was pretty weak. Like, Kendrick is not meek.
Nah,
You know, Kendrick is not Meek Mill. So you don't go into a fight like you going against Meek Mill. You're going against Kendrick, who's basically it's like the two of them have always been looked at as the yin and the yang. So you can't just go up against him like it's not, like, you know what I mean? You cannot underestimate him.
This is a fact. Yo, hold that
and
though.
He did.
Hold that though. We got to take a break real quick. We got to pay these bills. We will be right back with episode 123 of the Life of Produk podcast. We got Cuzin Damien on the line. This is the Drake versus Kendrick edition. We will be right back with the third segment of the show. Yeah, what up, Mr. Boy Product? We're now back with the Life of Produk Podcast. This is episode 123. Again, if you need advertisement, sponsorships, interviews, it is lifeofproduk@gmail.com or Korporate.Ent @gmail.com. Yeah, episode 123, baby. Cuzin Damien on the phone. Kendrick versus Drake. We get into it. Last part of the show, we were talking about, you mentioned the Meek Mill beef that happened with Drake. In my opinion, I think Meek beat himself. I don't think Drake necessarily beat Meek. I'm not saying back-to-back was whack. That was the first diss record we ever saw get a Grammy. I think it got a Grammy nomination and or a Grammy that I know was nominated. But Meek kind of beat himself. In my opinion, Meek didn't take it serious lyrically. Because if you remember not too far before that, Meek was into it with Cassidy. Even though Cassidy, in my opinion, won, because Cassidy went 2 rounds, Meek went 1. Meek verse, his reply to Cassidy was fire. So when I'm listening to Meek's verse against Drake, I'm like, hold up, well, where's you know what I'm saying? It was weird.
Right.
I think Meek didn't take it serious. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, for me, I think, and that's one of the reasons, and it's kind of like, that's kind of what I saw Meek as even going into that beef. For me, I never looked at that as much of a big deal, because I thought, look, I don't mean this as an insult to Meek. I'm just saying there's levels to this, and I don't think Meek, going into that beef, I don't think Meek stood a chance. So nothing surprised me in that.
I was surprised.
Like, I just think, and it's like you said, because I think Meek, I knew Meek wasn't going to take it seriously, because I just think that's just not him.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Some dudes are not wired for like beef and battle like that.
True.
You know what I mean?
This is true. I want to break down some of the factors. I want to know if you agree, and I want you to add to this, right? I want to break down some of the factors, in my opinion, why I think Drake lost this battle. One, I think Drake should have never came with a response. And I want to know if you agree on this after I tell you why. I think Drake messed up responding. I think Drake should have went the Nicki Minaj route. Remember when Nicki Minaj was beefing with Remy Ma and Remy Ma dropped Sheetha?
Yeah.
Dog, Sheetha, in my opinion, is one of the hardest diss tracks ever released. Like, literally. Here's the problem with it, right? We're in a generation now that doesn't fully respect bars, and they don't respect women. Can I say that this generation doesn't respect women? We know that. You know what I'm saying?
It's fair.
Thank you. We're just now seeing WNBA games selling out and women's college basketball selling out. This generation doesn't fully respect women. So that was one problem. That's not Remy Ma problem, because the song was perfect. Now, another reason why I say Drake should have went the Remy Ma route. Drake doesn't have the lyrical. I'm sorry, he should have went the Nicki route. Drake doesn't have the lyrical capabilities of a Kendrick Lamar. So what Nicki Minaj did, knowing that okay, Remy Ma was a battle rapper, she's got bars. She dropped 3 hit records whenever she was beefing with Remy Ma. Now, even though she did make references towards Remy Ma, those hit records that she dropped, all 3 of them, No Frauds was one of them, they did crazy numbers, and I believe one of them broke like Aretha Franklin's record or broke some type of record at that time. That's the route that Drake should have went, because you don't have the same bars. First of all, if you have ghostwriters, you can't battle rap against a rapper who was a battle rapper. You feel what I'm saying? It ain't going to work. Mm-hmm. But I want to know your take on that.
I think that's an interesting take, but here's the thing. I think Drake had to respond, because he built his, he's been kind of similar to what people say about Cole. Drake has been talking about he's number one, he's the best there is, and he had to respond. My thing is, I think I was expecting him to not respond so soon. I was expecting him to just wait and come back and respond on his own time.
Yeah.
But I do think he did need to respond. Not the only problem, but one of the problems with the response was with push-ups. Mm-hmm. Really good record, really good diss record. The problem is you had ghostwriters. Battle is not the time for the ghostwriter. You got to leave the ghostwriters at home. You're not trying to make a banger for the club. Nah. You're not trying to make a big hit single for the charts. You're basically going at it. You're in a fight. And when you're in a fight with a dude like who is basically known as being this great lyricist, you have to bring the same. You have the ability. Like, Drake has the ability to rap. He should have came into this and just rapped. So right out the gate, you made a misstep.
I agree with that. You know, another thing, I'm glad you brought up push-ups, right? So, okay, here's another reason I was pointing out why I think Drake lost, right? Let's go to push-ups, right? And I'm glad you brought up push-ups. First of all, he played the overly personal card too early. He got very personal in the beginning. You don't play that card early. When Kendrick dropped his one verse on Like That, Kendrick kept it hip-hop and rap. It wasn't personal. He wasn't talking about his family. He wasn't talking about his kids. He was literally throwing a warning shot. He threw a warning shot at you. That's what it was. He didn't go personal. Drake went overly personal. That was the first problem with push-ups. Number two, the part when he be like, drop and give me 50, like when he was like, when he was like, drop and give me 50, or so he made it real dancey. You don't make a battle rap dancey. You don't do that. You don't do that. This is a battle rap. You don't do that. If he would have came out with a song like The Heart Part 6 first, then that would have kind of put him on like, oh, he went back into his timestamp bag. You know what I'm saying? That's what he should have did. So that was
I think Family Matters should have been first because I think that's his hardest record in this.
Now,
Family Matters should have been first.
Another problem with Family Matters, right? Here's another problem with so let me go back to push-ups, right? With push-ups, he was bringing up the percentages and things like that. Now, us that know music industry, we know from him saying drop and give me 50, he was allegedly, according to Drake, Kendrick had to give Top Dog 50% of everything. Well, if you know the music industry, if you were artist just coming in the gate getting 50%, that's great. How many artists have we known? I remember DMX said he was getting a quarter album. Remember that? 25 cents or something like that. Now, if you was getting 50% and your albums is going not diamond, so they're going platinum. You just sold 1 million copies, right? You come on. So you made roughly, let's just say 10 million. Albums was $10, right? So you made estimated around close to 5 million before taxes. That's pretty good. It's not bad. That's really not bad. Yeah. Because no artist has a great deal in the beginning.
The thing he was doing, it's not the blow that he thought it was because a lot of the artists, like he had to, and a lot of people, as the further this went on, he kind of stopped the split talk once Kendrick threw that right back at him. So it was I think that was a dumb move to go to that.
Yeah. And we also know that Birdman doesn't like paying people. So if we have to, compare,
be careful when he pull up in your studio.
I know, right? I mean, we can have a conversation. It's all good. I get him on the podcast. You know what I mean? If we have to compare deals to deals, and let's compare those earlier deals, I think Kendrick might have had a better earlier deal than Drake. He might have.
That's very possible.
It's a possibility, right? All right,
very possible.
Now we talked about push-ups, and the energy of push-ups kind of seemed real strip clubbish. You know what I'm saying? Shouts out to Will Mills who pointed that out. That was kind of funny. You know what I'm saying? That video was kind of funny. Where you dancing to the shit. You know what I'm saying? It was good, Brooklyn. Now we go to you brought up the second record, Family Matters, right? Family Matters had 3 beat switches. Drake, in my opinion, like I said, he shouldn't have dropped a diss record. Drake should have put out a 4 or 5 track EP in that Family Matters that he did. Those 3 beats could have been literally 3 songs. If he would have just dropped 3 songs, made a couple references towards the battle, son, it would have rung off. He would have been winning. It would have been basically him saying, "I'm the king of this. I sell more records. This is what I'm doing to you. Chill out." You know what I'm saying? That's
you know what. I like what he did with Family Matters with the beat switches because before Family Matters Kendrick put out Euphoria first, right?
He put out Euphoria,
yeah Euphoria. I think that was kind of because Euphoria does the same thing. There's like 3 beat switches, but I think Family Matters, the problem is it's not the problem with Family Matters itself because that record itself, and I saw other people say this on Twitter, that record would have ended most other rappers' careers. I just think he was up against such a monster, such a Goliath, that his usual strategy was just not going to work. I think he had nothing on Kendrick, which is why I think both of them just shot lies back and forth. Yeah. It was entertaining, but I don't believe for 1 second that Drake is an actual pedophile, just like I don't believe that Kendrick actually beats his girl or that Dave Free is the father of one of those kids. Like, I don't believe in it. I think it was just a lot of dirty mudslinging tactics, but because they were so elite in the record, again, I enjoyed every record from both of them. Yeah. But I just think what Drake did was just not enough against Kendrick Lamar.
Nah. You know what's crazy too?
Kendrick is just that great, that elite.
At Kendrick's level, if Kendrick was beating his wife / girl / baby mother, we would have heard about that a long time ago. We'd have been heard about it.
I feel like that's possible.
We'd have been heard about that.
That would have got out, yeah.
I also feel like if Drake is really a pedophile, we would have heard about that a long time ago. Yeah,
yeah.
I just. Well, then, yeah, true.
I mean,
maybe I believe Drake is protected.
I mean, hey, I don't know, but
you know what I'm saying?
I just don't believe it. I don't believe it. I could be wrong, but I don't believe it.
I don't like putting labels on people, right? I do believe it's a possibility that Kendrick was having problems with his wife. You know, they say he moved to New York. He got an apartment in Dumbo, which is, first of all, Drake can't be calling no Dumbo apartment a little apartment. Dog, Dumbo apartments cost money. They cost a lot of money. So for you to live by the bridge, it costs a lot of money, son. It's like, I think you need to do research.
Kendrick's apartment is probably some $1 million apartment anyway.
Yo,
so
listen,
like,
man.
And that's what, see what I'm saying though?
Yeah.
See the shots he was taking. You talk about your little ass. Like, come on, dude. That's not gonna work. It's not. This guy. Like, what are you doing?
It's not. I used to date a shorty, and she was an assistant manager. She worked in property management, and she was an assistant manager of a couple properties in Dumbo. And dog, the prices is wild. Like, we can't go half on it right now where we at in life. Let me just say this: it costs money. It costs a lot of money. So that brings me to another thing, right? Now, Drake was throwing shots at Kendrick about saying how he going through things with his wife. His wife cheated on him, and allegedly one of those kids is Dave Free kid. Don't you? First of all, that's not going to hurt Kendrick in no kind of way. That's actually going to help him. I want you to look at it from this perspective. It's going to help him because now his Kendrick has a cult following to where he can drop every 10 years if he wanted, and it will sell out. Right? Is it safe to say that? That cult following that loves Kendrick so much is going to look at that and turn against his wife and be on his side. It's not gonna be something where they're gonna take his side, take Drake's side, and look at Kendrick and laugh at him. Nobody's gonna laugh at Kendrick for that. Would you agree with that statement? Yeah. No, they're not gonna do that.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I heard similar takes like that. You kind of went into it a little more elaborately, but it's like, again, it was another nonsensical shot. Considering you can't talk about somebody's family life when the mother, and this is again, this is just fact. The mother of your child who you were hiding gargles dick for a living. She's a porn star. How dare you? Who are you to talk about somebody's personal life? You, of all the women he's been with, you got the porn star pregnant? Come on, Drake, stop it.
Now that brings us to the ASAP Rocky line. Now, apparently ASAP Rocky slept with her first. And he's confirmed that. And I don't know if this is true or not, because I don't like going up for rumors, but apparently it was both of them back to back with her, and Drake is just the one that got her pregnant. If that's crazy, if that's true, that's wild. That's wild.
Yeah, because look how it panned out for everybody. You got the porn star pregnant. He got Rihanna pregnant twice. Again, you're gonna have to pick and choose your battles a little better, Drake.
Yo, listen,
pick and choose your battles a little better.
Harlem is up right now. Harlem is up. Harlem is up, man. Yo, he got 2 kids by the girl that everybody wanted to lie.
Exactly. Come on,
everybody.
Now.
I don't think.
That's where the jealousy is with Drake. That's what makes Drake so mad. Though.
Yeah. Yeah, you know, I think we're seeing, like I said, we're seeing the king is falling, and we're seeing that. We're seeing the side of Drake we never seen. We've seen a dude that never looked like he looked invincible for years. He looked invincible for years, and I like some of the stuff. Like I said, I'm neutral in this, right? But some of the stuff that Kendrick broke down is stuff that me and you and us hip hop heads knew for a long time. When he said how you slept with Wayne girl while he was in jail. We knew that already.
Yeah.
We knew that. And then, of course, if this is your man's and this dude is like your brother, eventually we're going to choose bros over those. I'm just going to say those, okay? We're going to choose bros over those, right? But us Geminis don't always look at it like that. If I signed you, I made you a millionaire, and you sleep with my shorty, my girl, whatever she is, while I'm locked up, I'm not going to look at you the same. But Wayne, I guess, is a forgiving. Wayne got mad kids. He don't care about that. Wayne is living. Wayne is good.
And then here's, I mean, while you brought up Wayne, what I find interesting that it's also interesting that nobody's mentioned this, but you see, if you paying attention, like if you on Twitter, you see Punch and a lot of the TDE crew and some of the art and a lot of the artists, they've shown an overwhelming amount of support without getting directly involved. They've shown such an overwhelming amount of support for Kendrick. You haven't heard Wayne, Nicki, or Birdman say shit in this man's defense.
Well, I think I heard Birdman
say
one thing.
I
think Birdman did. Don't quote me on that, but I believe he did. But nobody else has said anything.
You might be right. He might have said something, but again, that was like weeks ago before even we saw the back and forth.
Yeah,
like we haven't heard Wayne say nothing. We haven't heard Nicki say nothing. Like something's off there when your crew. Yeah, he may not be officially part of the Young Money label anymore, but. Neither is Kendrick's not officially part of TDE no more. But you saw all the support. Drake, where are your friends, dude? Like, like his stands are the only ones that would take it up with him. Where are your friends?
But
where are the people that care about you?
But listen, that brings it to the concept of your day ones is always gonna be your day ones. When you got day ones versus the dudes that you just met in the industry, is a different vibe and different energy. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm telling you, a lot of this battle, Drake beat himself. Drake beat himself in a lot of this battle.
Yes, yeah. A lot of the choices he made, he just made some wrong choices.
Now, when Drake mentioned how Top robbed Kendrick Pops back in the day, right? He robbed his Pops back in the day. Maybe he did. I'm not saying he didn't, but you got to look at it like this, right?
Actually, I think like just but I think that's part of the thing. Like he did a few lines, it's like the molestation thing.
Yes.
That was confirmed fault. Like basically, fans were like, he didn't listen to the lyrics properly because they pulled up the lyrics.
Can't
it was
play
like
with that, dog.
Top. He didn't get robbed by Top. He didn't, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
He didn't get molested. Like there were so many things that Drake got wrong, and it's like, dude, come on.
Now, if Top did rob his Pops, right? Allegedly, they saying Top robbed his Pops. Top was a hood dude, right? What I commend Top for doing, say if hypothetically he did rob Kendrick Pops back in the day, they from the same hood. You robbed his Pops back in the day, you signed his son and made his son a millionaire. That's your redemption. You feel what I'm saying? That's your redemption. When you look at it from a realistic perspective, him mentioning Kendrick saying, maybe it was you that was molested. Molestation is a very big thing. The Me Too movement is very big. You can't play with that. You kind of can't. And if you really listen to Family Matters, like I said, I believe there's a lot of lines on there where Drake really shot himself in the foot. That line. Also, when he said mixed queen, vanilla cream, like, dog, I don't think you should say that. I think those type of lines right there kind of really made it bad for him. Then, there's been speculation that he said, Kendrick can't make certain type of records. Then Kendrick dropped the Cali Anthem of the Year, the Not Like Us. Dog, they're playing Not Like Us at sports games. They're playing that at sports events.
And that, to me, here's the thing. You got the Drake stands, like for the Drake stands out there. I don't know if any of them listen, probably not. But hey, if the Drake stands out there listening, Kendrick made, Not Like Us, like you brought up. He got people dancing to it in clubs, videos going viral, social media, people dancing, people making their own remixes. It's reaching number one on the charts. His records are kind of back and forth on the charts at the top. If Drake did all of this, those Drake stands would have said Drake won. So why is it that Kendrick did all of this and they still don't want to say he won? That's just nonsense. They basically, Drake stands feel that Drake won because he's Drake. Like in their eyes, he could have never lost this, which that's just delusional.
Yeah. Now,
and I think there was some delusion on Drake's part in this, too.
Yo, it's like I said, it's been a very bad month and a half for Drake. It's been a very bad month. A couple more things I want to point out, but it's been a very bad month and a half for Drake, right? The clip resurfaced of Daylight, and I didn't. Mentioning Daylight, it's speculated that people are kind of confirmed that Daylight was ghostwriting for Drake, right? That's what they were saying, right?
They said he wrote back to back.
They said he wrote back to back. Did you remember the Vlad TV clip that came out where Daylight was in whiteface with the blonde wig and was saying, I was at my friend Aubrey's house and he told me he killed X-Tentacion. Remember that? Remember that clip? That was a clip from 2018.
I never took him seriously when he said that.
I didn't take it seriously either until now. And I'm going to tell you what made me take it serious. When I first watched that, I was like, Daylight is wild. And I was like, this is great publicity, but this is crazy, right? What made me go back and take it serious was a tweet that X-Tentacion put out when he said, if I die, Drake did it, something like that. I'm not saying Drake did that. This is just all public stuff. Also, if you listen to one of the songs that Drake dropped, I think is a Hard 6, where he said either that or Family Matters, when he said Ross Air looking like the flight of Malaysia, and then Rick Ross' plane goes down. Okay, listen, man. Is it kind of weird? You know what I'm saying?
It's weird. I think because he said it. But that came from, I read that because that came from, it was the Hard Part 6 where he said it, because that came out after the plane went down. And because Ross immediately on social media after the plane went down, Ross posted it, and he posted a video, or either he posted a caption or a video of him saying, hey, maybe it was OVO or Drake who did it. So I think Drake was kind of playing into that. I think Drake played into that.
Yo, I ain't gonna front, man. Rick Ross is funny when he's like, white boy. It was funny. It was funny. It's been very bad for Drake, man. Very, very bad for Drake. Now, after this, we see people been trying to run up in Drake crib. Somebody got shot at Drake crib or outside of Drake's crib, and apparently
his security, one of his security, I believe.
Now, one of the weekend manager, I think his name is Cash or something like that. They said the security guard in front of his crib in LA got shot up. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, apparently is not like, it doesn't, apparently it has nothing to do with the Kendrick thing, but apparently there's like some ongoing OVO versus XO beef. XO is the Weeknd's crew. So there's some ongoing beef. That's the beef I want to know the root. Like I want to know what caused that beef.
That's what I was gonna say that. I'm glad you said it first. I want to know what really caused that because the Weeknd jumped on a song with Future. You know who's really winning right now? Future, Metro Boomin, and all the YouTubers doing reaction videos. That's who's really winning from this. They really winning. They winning because listen, man. Like, and I said this on the last podcast, I think it's time to put Metro Boomin in conversations and start considering him one of the best producers out. He's one of the best. You know what I'm saying? That few people,
yeah, definitely.
People don't realize. We're gonna end the show in a minute, but people don't realize that We Don't Like You album, the titles of that album kind of went against the titles of I think what the album he dropped with, was it 21 Savage or was it Certified Lover Boy? Like Sliming You Out, they got a song called Slimed In. All of those. You know what I'm talking about, right? Like the titles of the songs.
I think that's the Her Loss. Yeah, it's Her Loss. It's the Her Loss album.
It's kind of
a lot of people. There was rumors, but nobody confirmed anything. And Future never talks.
Yeah.
But there was rumors that when that album came out, that some of those songs were Drake was dissing Future on that album, but nobody really could confirm it.
Mm-hmm. Drake dissed a lot of people on that album. Like I told you, I gave it one solid listen. I was like, yo, he did such as he was talking that talk on that album, and that I think that right there kind of moved the lid off the box to where everybody was like, oh, okay, this is what you're doing. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to go back probably tomorrow and listen to that album one more time because I think I missed a few things. But, yo, we got to wrap the show up. I appreciate you calling in. One more thing. Can Drake's career be redeemed after this?
Absolutely. And all he has to do, to me, I think he should just like chill for a bit. He doesn't need to make any more records.
Yeah.
Chill for a couple of months. Come back and just put out slaps. I mean, that's what people have wanted because there's been a decline in his music, but people want the slaps. All he has to do, come out with some hit records. That's it.
I think
you don't have to address Kendrick.
Yeah, he don't. I think he should have just did hit records in the beginning and not even responded to Kendrick. And just he could have took the stush route and been like, I'm bigger than you. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, but, responded on his own time like later.
Yeah. But I also do think that he's been battle tested, and I think he's proven himself. Whether he wrote it or not, I think he's been battle tested, and he's proven himself. I got bars too. Like, what's up? You know what I'm saying?
Well, I mean, here's something to think about because I saw this. I wish I saved it, but I saw it was like on Instagram the other day. A dude made a video where he was breaking down his theory or his belief that Drake has never beat a lyricist. Like he was arguing that Drake never beat Common. He never beat Joe Budden. He was saying Meek is the only battle he really won.
And I was going to tell you,
there's a strong case to be made toward that.
He's pretty much
a strong case to be made. Yeah.
So we mentioned Meek, Common, Joe Budden, and Pusha T. Let's not forget Pusha. He's basically 1 for 4.
Pusha, yes, Pusha. That's right.
He's 1 for 4. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's a strong argument. A strong case to be made for that. Yeah,
he's 1 for 4. When Common dropped that over the Stay Scheming beat, Drake only dropped a couple bars about him. Common dropped the freestyle. Had Common dropped the actual song and put it on DSPs, it would have made more noise. It was fire. It would have made more noise. So he's technically 1 for 4. You know what I'm saying? So you know what I mean? Shouts out to Drake. Shouts out to Kendrick for keeping hip hop alive and giving us the 2024 has been wild, boy. And I blame Cat Williams and
listen. You know what this beef? You know what this beef really did?
What's that?
This beef got Kendrick and Drake. And I mean, you got to give it to Future and Metro as well.
Yeah.
They got people to be silent about Beyonce and Taylor Swift's album. Those two are pop music gods. And we're not even talking about the 2 albums that both of them recently dropped.
Yeah, and that's crazy.
That's nuts.
But that's crazy because Taylor Swift literally just dropped the album, a few weeks ago?
Yeah.
And nobody talked about it. Right? Nobody's
talking.
Nah.
I'm sure it's doing numbers, and I'm sure
it's Taylor Swift,
but nobody is talking about it.
To silence that, and that Cowboy, from my understanding, that Cowboy Carter album did numbers. I mean, numbers.
Yeah.
And nobody talked about the numbers no more about Beyonce album. Nobody talked about the discrimination she's getting about that album. And she's getting a lot of discrimination. You know, we're going to talk about that. Listen, man. For the 10th edition of You Calling In, we got to do it on camera. We got to get you podcasting on camera. We got to rock out. We're going to make that happen, cuzzo. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, we definitely got you.
I appreciate you calling in. G, it's the Boy Product, Life of Product Podcast. This is episode 123. This was a beef edition. Shouts out to Cuzin Damien for calling into the show. We will see you guys on the next episode. I'm out, baby. Gia.
You are now listening to the Life of Product Podcast.